Yes.
Right.
Hey,
John
Stacy.
Damiano,
How are you?
how are you?
I'm doing good.
So glad to see you. We need to come see you out there in Atlanta.
That's right. It's been a long time.
It's been a minute, right?
Yeah.
Who do we have here? Miss Jacqueline Foreman. Hey, lady.
Good morning, Stacy. Thank
Hi,
you
how are you?
so that I don't miss these meetings. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I think I probably wear people out with my reminders, but
It
our
works,
lives are so
it
crazy.
works really well for me.
Okay, it does for me too. I appreciate it when I get all these
Because when I
little.
go squirrel, you just bring me back. Nope, that's what we're doing.
Good, good, good. Well, let's start with in Elizabeth Riley style. Hey, Brian, looking at all the faces. This call always has lots of folks on here that I don't know yet, but I'm anxious to meet so many people. Mr. Brian Copeland, how you
Sorry,
doing?
I have a muffin in my mouth.
Okay, well, you do your thing. Michelle Hendricks had a birthday this week. Hey, honey, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
A few days late.
Thanks, y'all.
Mine's this Sunday, so you and I have I think we're a week apart.
Oh, no wonder we get along so well. We're Geminis together.
Just Gemini's, I know.
Good luck, everybody.
Yeah, Michelle and Stacy on the call. Okay, well, in Elizabeth Riley style, let's start with our wins of the week. What y'all got? We put one under, our listings are not getting a ton of traffic, but we put a big one under contract, or we're putting it under contract this morning, a 1.3, and had been dead, and we have 2 offers, so we were in multiples, and anyway, putting one under contract so today. So there's my win of the week. What about you guys?
We had a couple to clear to close, which is, and the closing seems so much longer, like 6 weeks. So it just seems like it's forever before it closes. But yeah, 2 clear to close, should be closing this week, which puts me at just, I believe, needing 1 to make icon. So super excited about that.
Girl, that's
Hopefully I'll get that one done tomorrow.
Nice.
nice.
I'm so excited.
I know you are. Well, we'll have to celebrate you. So next week we'll be like, we'll have confetti on the screen when you get those closed.
I love that EXP has this milestone for so many people to participate in, instead of being just the top agent of a company or just the top agent in Austin. There's so many people that can be a part of it. And I also love that it put me in, like, get your shit together here in the next week if you want to make this, and there's an incentive to do it. I mean, I work really well in that kind of environment, so I love it.
I love that too, because you don't really know what top producer means, but I like the level playing field that we all know what this milestone means. So we know how hard it is to get there. And, it's very much worth celebrating. So yay, you.
I'll share a win. I got an email from a tenant that I apparently leased a home to like 3 or 4 years ago. I don't even remember. Can't even put a picture to their face. And they emailed and said, "Hey, we are looking to buy now. We remember how great you were, and we want to work with you." And I know it's because I'm consistent on sending my monthly newsletters that show that I'm very active in the industry, and I have a lot of listings and wins. And it's just that consistency pays off over time, And these are people I've not talked to in 3 years.
Yeah.
That's huge. It just reinforces all those little activities that we do that we don't necessarily know. Are they working? Are they working? There you go. And then look what happens. That's awesome.
Yep. Out of the blue.
Awesome. That's awesome.
And who doesn't love buyers right now?
Yeah. Exactly. Realistic buyers that can actually close. I know we have of the buyers that we have right now, 3 are cash, so they're not affected by rates, and they're not in that concern. But anyway, yeah, I'm super grateful for our cash buyers for sure that need shelter. Like, they're not just tire kicking.
Any other wins?
I know y'all got more wins out there.
John Diamano, you always have wins.
We try. We've got more activity happening in Atlanta. We've got things that we're listing, and so we see the fall season is bright. Plus the things that we're doing with IIS, so it's good.
Did you list your neighborhood and all the revenues business that's coming your way?
Actually, we're about to get the final approval to list the community, yes.
They are listing an entire community through EXP Revenues that a developer bought and built, and they want to get it off their books. An entire community came through our platform.
They turned it, it was all rental. They built it to rent. And now I think that the investor has lost some tax credits. So now they're just going to sell the whole community. So it's
What is that, like 40 units, 40 townhomes?
40 units. And then there's another one that's over 100 that we're working on right now.
I mean, that doesn't happen elsewhere.
No, that's amazing.
John, can you explain how the revenues benefits this whole community, please?
Well, what happens is that currently it's all rental. So as the leases are coming up, they're basically converting these all to now sale properties. So it'll be a constant flow. So we'll be able to list so many a month, close so many a month, and then the next month we have more going on. So it's a ongoing program, which is it's great. You can set it up like a new community and stage it and have it really and it was built by D.R. Horton. So it's a
But the revenues, the revenues part isn't there something that gives back to the buyers or from the employees is what I thought? No?
No, he has to. Well, there's 8 different buckets in revenues. This one works with the more institutional investors, developers bucket. Yeah,
they've got REO, they've got all
military,
kinds of
everything.
Yeah, so if you haven't looked into revenues, you should, because again, just like Brian says, where can you get an opportunity with another brokerage firm where you can get that many properties, under your belt like that?
That's
insane.
and what a great
Congratulations.
portfolio builder for you guys, John, just for future. What a great portfolio builder for your team
No, yeah, no question.
to be able to use that to go to other developers and other opportunities that you have.
And these are great homes. I mean, this community is built by D.R. Horton. The other is built by Lennar. So, they're top builders and going through them. I mean, they originally built them for rental, but they're not bad. And if we can sell them for under $300,000, it'll be a huge win.
That's amazing. That's awesome. Yay, JD. Well, today we're in for a treat. So Todd Bailey does not need much introduction in this group because he's one of us. And so Todd, a few weeks ago, he did his List to Last part 1. Today's going to be part 2. For those of you that didn't see his part 1, if you go back into the tribe group, it was live streamed and recorded. So you can go back and listen to part 1. But I've known Todd. Todd and I are like siblings. We go like way back. I think we met like, I don't know, 2008 or, way back when the world was very different than it is today. And the industry was different than it is today. And we've been through a few cycles together. We were at the same brokerage for 13 years together before we came over. Todd, Brian, my husband, Michael and I, and Kim Wilkin, who I'm not sure if she is here. We all came around the same time. So anyway, it's been a fun thing to help or to become part of this tribe. And anyways, Todd has built this like rock star. He's a rock star here in Austin, and he's really focused his business to a great extent on building his listing inventory. And you guys know that listing is the way that we last in this business, and especially, well, I don't know. We need it all right now, I think, right? So Todd Bailey, I'm going to just turn it over to you and quit talking. I'm excited.
Hey, well, thank you very much. Can you guys hear me okay? Am I good?
Yep.
Okay, so
we-
is anyone on this call a Canva expert? Would they call themselves a Canva expert? And here's where I'm going with this. I have a great presentation for you guys that I just deleted somehow in Canva. Now, I know, don't worry. I got this covered, gang. I've been doing these listing presentations for 10 years, so I can do it, but the presentation disappeared. Anybody got other than Command Z, does anyone know how to pick up lost stuff in there? Anyone in this group?
Todd, there's a trash button on your Canva account at the very bottom left on the panel.
Okay.
If you scroll down, if you go to your home and then scroll down to the bottom left, there should be a trash button right there. You can see if it's in there.
Okay. I'm gonna share my screen and you're gonna help me. If this doesn't happen in 30 seconds, gang, we're just gonna keep moving, all right? All right. Can you guys see my screen now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, whoever was
Do you
talking.
see the little hamburger button on the top left? Top
That one.
left. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, click on that.
Okay.
And then just hit the Canva at the top. See if it'll take you back to your home page. There you go. All right, on the bottom left, scroll down all the way to the bottom. You see that trash
trash.
button?
Well, just do it on the portal and then make sure you put June specials down in the comment section.
Somebody's chatting.
You know,
All right, well,
Yeah, turn your mute on if you're not talking.
let's see. There's all these lovely pictures of people that are on my team. I have no
That's
idea.
interesting. You say you
Stop.
just deleted
No,
it.
this is very personal here. We're looking.
Yeah, don't worry. We're good. All right, well, onward we march, friends.
If you know what you titled it, you could search in that search bar in the trash to see if it pulls up.
Last chance. Last chance.
Yeah, I'm wondering why it's not in there if you just deleted it. Yeah.
Let's see. Let's move
Or
this.
hit search your content at the top. Yeah, try that. Yeah.
Todd, did you delete your presentation for today?
The whole thing, gang. This is what I want. But what happened? So see, it's only one. It's supposed to be pretty like this one, but it's just one graph.
No.
All the
It won't
slides.
let you, Todd, it won't let you undo what you've done. Is there an edit undo?
It may have something to do with that little alert right above that button you pick.
Was
Yeah.
it?
I don't think it has to do with that because I've been working with
I
that.
am
for-
gonna call, honey. Are you talking to me? I don't
All
understand.
right. Onward we
All I
march,
hear is
friends.
talking in the background.
Hey, mute your phone, please. All right.
Everybody mute if you're not talking.
Onward we go. Okay. So let's do a little recap from last week or the last time. Okay. So can you guys see this okay?
Yep,
Yeah.
it's beautiful.
Okay. Whoa, thanks. I got so quiet there for a second. I was like, oh my God, did I delete myself for a second? So let's just recap what we're doing, right? You've got a phone call that comes in. Somebody wants to purchase a home, or excuse me, sell a home. It's really important to start building that rapport from day one, right? So you're going to have the pre-listing conversation. We talked about that last time. Sorry, enough about me. We don't need to worry about me. But we're going to have a pre-listing conversation with our clients. We're going to talk to them 10 to 15 minutes about the house. You know, this is going to help you guys learn how to level the playing field. Like there's questions that we talked about from last time. We did a mock call. But we're going to ask them, you know, name and property address. Why are you selling? When do you plan to move? Could you describe your home to me? We're going to go through this list on a 10 to 15 minute conversation to figure out kind of what we're up against, right? We're going to ask questions, you know, hey, are you interviewing other real estate agents? If so, who and when? And there's a lot of debate whether you want to go first or last. I personally like to go first in my listing presentation. And we can talk about that if you guys want. But the reason you want to ask these questions, also you want to ask them like, hey, have you thought about doing it for sale by owner? Because this way, you know, hey, you may or may not be interviewing, right? You may or may not be competing with someone. You may or may not be up against somebody who's thinking about selling it themselves. A lot of you are doing expireds and withdrawals. So you're going to be competing against different people, or you're going to be competing against a really high price. And you need to know that up front, right? We're also asking questions like, are there any dogs there? Are there any animals there, pets? Has anyone smoked in the property? That way you know kind of what to think about as you're moving into your listing presentation. So as we're doing that, gosh, I wish I had my presentation here, but anyway, once we've had that conversation, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to hang up the phone and we're going to send our listing package to your clients. Is everyone using a listing package?
Yes.
I'm just going to assume you guys are. Let me see if I've got a picture of our listing package. But so we send our listing package over to them, and I talked about this in our last call. The number one thing that people want is a listing package with marketing material, your contract, and the information about you and your brokerage. And it's the number one thing that clients are not sending, or the agents are not sending. So if you don't have a really good one, reach out to me. I'm happy to send mine over. I'm going to try to pull mine up in Canva here, as you guys can.
They send, do you mean email them or physically mail them?
So that's a great question, Jeff. We send it to them physically, and we also send flowers. And I know that may sound like a little bit of overkill, but as I'm going to talk about that here in just a second, but as you're moving into the house, those flowers are going to land on the kitchen table or on the kitchen countertop. And you want to gather around those flowers when you're going to do your presentation.
And Todd, you said that so as a follow-up to basically your listing consultation that you're doing via Zoom or over the phone, one way or another, you're not doing that live. This is before a live face-to-face, right?
Yeah. So ask the question again, Stacy.
Yeah. So you're doing this because this was a question in the chat from Jeffrey, is that you're doing what you just described is all before you get face-to-face. So this is basically on a Zoom call, a kind of a pre-listing consultation, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And then your follow-up to that call is you send 3 things: marketing materials, your listing agreement, and what was your third thing?
Flowers.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah, you said there's 3 things they want to see.
So they want to see your listing agreement. I'm sorry. Maybe I said 3. I didn't mean 3. They want to see that the number one thing that people want is a listing package. The listing package is going to include all your marketing material, a little bit about yourself, and your documents, right? They want to see the listing agreement ahead of time. I would also preface it with, hey, I'm going to send you my listing agreement for you to review. We're not going to put a price in there. We're going to talk about price when I get to your home. Does that make sense?
Yep. Awesome.
Okay, cool. And I had a picture of it. But I don't see it.
Do you have a that you've already sent to a client, like that was in PDF or something?
I'd have to think about it. I don't want to spend a lot of time searching around on my computer here. But I'm going to, obviously. Okay. So the next thing you're going to do when you get ready to go to their house, I want you guys to prepare in a way. Well, let me rephrase. Let me back up just a little bit. After you send that listing package to them, you don't want to, when people start asking questions about, hey, what's your commission? What's your, how much do you think my house is worth? What I always do is I want to put those off till I'm face to face with them. And the reason why is because we're going to walk through all of this stuff with them in this. package that I'm going to put together for them. So I'm sending my regular marketing material to them, my listing agreement, and flowers. And again, the flowers are going to land on the kitchen table or in the meeting space where you guys are going to gather around. So when I land at their house, first thing I'm going to do, number one, and I know I'm preaching to the choir, but please dress appropriately, right? I know it's hot in Texas. I'm wearing a short sleeve shirt today, but this is a job interview. So make sure that when you land at their house, you are dressed appropriately. Flip-flops and tank tops in the summer don't work, even if they're your family or even if they're your close friends. It's a job interview and you want to make sure that you're doing it appropriately. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So when I walk up to their house, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say, I'm going to carry my bag. I have my bag just like this. This is my bag. In the bag, I have this yellow sheet that goes about right here. And I have all my comps and everything ready to go, just like this. So I'm going to have it on my shoulder and I'm going to say, hey, Mr. Seller, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, Mr. Seller, whomever you're talking to. Do you mind? Well, first off, absolutely 100% give them some sort of compliment on their house. Hey, your house is great. It's got amazing curb appeal. I love your cul-de-sac. It's awesome. Hey, did you guys just paint? The exterior of your home looks fantastic. And I know some of us go on some listing appointments that are duds and not the nicest places, right? I've been to plenty of houses where I walk in the front door and I immediately want to walk out the front door. But if you can give them some sort of compliment, it'll go a long ways. And then what I say to them, and I say, you know, as I'm walking in with this on my shoulder, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, do you mind if I set my stuff down over on the table or wherever those flowers are? And the reason we like the flowers is, again, we're going to gather around those flowers. Do you mind if I set my stuff down over there? And I'm kind of trying to peek around them to see where it is. And then you can show me around your home. And so I set it down and I have my yellow sheet ready. And the yellow sheet looks just like this. It's got their name, the street address, the date, and the time. And when I hold it down like this, I pull it out of my bag and I hold it down like this, a little bit of showmanship, right? I want them to see that I've got their names and everything written on this sheet. So they think I'm organized, I'm engaged, and I'm ready to go. So I'm going to back up just a little bit here. You've had this amazing phone call with them where you've asked them the appropriate questions. Your marketing material has landed at their front doorstep, or you can send it, you know, if it's really far out, send it electronically. Now you're dressed professionally. You've got your professional bag or whatever you carry. Now you're holding this sheet of paper in your hand and you're ready to walk around their house. You are setting yourself apart from your competition. If you do these simple steps, I promise you, you will get 95% of the listing appointments you go on, even if you're competing. Because nobody else is going to do this except for everybody on this group, right? In this group. So you're going to take this yellow pad and you're going to start walking around their house and you're going to take really good notes. I used to not take the best notes. I kind of thought, you know, it was just a little bit of showmanship and I was just going to, you know, take the notes and it doesn't really matter because I'm going to throw them away. But what I've done with this, once you start taking these notes, and people will talk to you as long as you let them. So I would really, really encourage you guys to settle in on these listing appointments and just let them talk. They're going to tell you everything about their long lost cousins and why they're selling. And, you know, they might be a happy situation. It might be a sad situation, whatever it happens to be. Your clients will divulge everything. I think as real estate agents, we need to be quiet and listen. So we're going to walk around their house and we're going to ask questions, right? One mouth, two ears. You're going to start asking questions about, hey, tell me about that water stain on the ceiling. Oh, you had a leak back in, 2021? Okay, tell me about that. Jotting it down, writing it, writing all the information down, asking the, questions like, hey, are you thinking about changing this carpet? Or do you think you want to price it as is? Make sure you also, like, one of the things too, you're going to be close to these people. So make sure you have, and I hate to say these things because I'm kind of preaching to the choir here, right? But good breath, you smell good, all the things, right? It's like when you take an acting class and you're going to be close to the other actors, they tell you to, be sure that you smell good and you aren't, offensive in any way. Make sure you're doing that as well, because you're going to be in the house in close proximity to them. You're going to be in a utility room or in a bathroom, and you're going to be very close to them. But so take your notes. And then as you move through the house, what you want to do is ultimately land down where you put your stuff, and your listing package is right there. Does that make sense? Everybody with me right now? Monica, I'm going to just call out some names.
Yes.
Fox, Mr. Underwood, I should say, Sean Phil. Okay, so we're going to sit down and we're going to start asking people questions. So, Angie Smith, you're at the front of my screen right there. Will you role play with me just a little bit here?
Sure.
Okay, so we've just walked through your house. You've got my listing presentation. And I say, okay, are you married, Angie? Or are you?
No.
Okay. So Angie, what questions do you have for me? I know did you have a chance to look at my listing package?
I did. I guess my biggest question would be, how much do you think my house is worth?
Okay. So you've got some pricing questions. Okay. And I'm going to jot them down, Angie, right here. I'm going to take a list to make sure that we get through all of your questions. I'm going to go through all of them, I promise. Okay. So you've got pricing questions. What else do you have?
Do you think there's any repairs I need to make or any cosmetic improvements to my home?
Yeah. So pricing, repairs. What else, Angie?
I know you probably did some comps. So what's your opinion as far as how quickly my house will sell? I'm kind of in a hurry.
Okay. And if she hadn't told me already, gang, I would say, okay, Angie, tell me why you're in a hurry. Tell me about that.
Well, I am working to move to a different state. I've got a new job that I'm going to be starting, and unfortunately, they're not giving me a reload package. So I need to get out of this house as quickly as possible.
Okay. And when do you start your new job? And where?
In about I'm supposed to be there in 3 months.
Okay, so 90 days we have to sell your house. And actually we probably need to sell it before that, because you've got a little bit of you need a little time to pack and get over there. And where are you moving, Angie?
I'm gonna move to, let's pick something really pretty. Colorado.
Oh, Colorado. That's my home state. And by the way, I have a couple amazing agents in Colorado, and I'd love to make an introduction when the time is right. Okay.
Excellent.
Okay, great. And I would probably park there, gang, but for the use of our time, I'd ask her more about that if we were actually at her house. Okay, so you've got pricing questions, Angie. You've got repair questions, and obviously we need to make sure that the timing works well for you. What other questions do you have?
Well, I'm going to be interviewing some other agents.
Okay.
So how do you plan to market my property, in comparison to what some of these other people may offer me? I just want to know if you're going to be able to get me a lot of exposure.
Okay, great. So we've got pricing, repairs, timing, and marketing. What else? Actually, I'm going to stop right there.
Okay.
Usually they have 3 questions, right?
Yeah.
Pricing. Well, it's generally, there are three things that you guys need to be prepared for. How much the house is going to sell for, how fast it's going to sell, and how much they're going to pay you. Right?
Mhm.
So I'm going to say this. Okay, so we've got this list of questions. Angie, there's one of three things that can happen today. And gang, this is the crux. And I will get my presentation put back together and send it to you guys if you want it. But this is the crux right here. Angie, one of three things can happen today. Angie, you can choose to hire me, or you may choose not to hire me for whatever reason. Or number three, if I can't help you meet your goals and objectives, get you to the next chapter in Denver, I will feel obligated to tell you that. It wouldn't be right for me to take your listing knowing deep down inside that I can't help you get your house sold. Does that sound like a fair way to approach it?
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
Okay, so those three things right there, gang, you're telling them, hey, you may hire me, you may choose not to hire me, or if I can't help you meet your goals and objectives, I feel obligated to tell you that. And gang, right now you need to be talking to your clients about this. You need to have this conversation with them, because I can tell you this, there are a lot of houses out there that are losing value in the Austin area, or slowly well, let's just call it what it is. Our market is going downward, is heading southbound, and everybody's looking in the rear view mirror. And I can talk more about that, but you want to have the out. If they want to price, if their house is worth $1 million and they want to price it at $1.5 million, you want to have an out, right? Like, hey, I'm not going to be able to help you with that, unfortunately. So that's the crux. And then that's when I start moving into, okay, Angie, let's talk about our pricing.
Mhm.
And so this is where I'm going to start moving into how to get their house sold. I print 3 of these generally. If it's only one person, I print one for myself and one for the other person. Sorry, that's a little glary. And I'm going to put this, I'm going to pull this up on the screen here. I'm going to share it. But this is exactly what it looks like. It's bound just like this. I print this up at my house on hard card stock, and I take it to Office Depot and they bind it for me just like that. Very, very simple. Let me share my screen again. Okay.
Todd,
Yeah.
was that what you just showed us where the color is that what you pulled from Focus First?
It is all Focus First.
Okay. Which did you go over Focus First on your first round with this?
I did not. That's what we're about to jump into.
Okay. Yay.
Sound good?
Yes.
All right. Can you guys see this graph?
Yep.
Okay. So we're going to pretend that Angie's house is in the zip code 78733. That's on the west side of Austin in the Cuernavaca area. If you're not in Austin, it doesn't really matter anyway. So I started in with the conversation. Let's talk about your neighborhood and your zip code, Angie. And I'm going to go from a really broad perspective down to a really narrow perspective. We're going to talk about your house and the pricing specifically. Does that sound good to you?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Okay. So Angie, this graph is best read from the bottom to the top. And gang, this is information that you need to be providing to your clients that you can show them, not tell them. It's just like if I had my presentation right now, I'd be having more of an impact on you guys. Luckily, I've got a few like kind of show and tell things that I've got.
Hey,
but you need...
Todd, if I may interject, I just emailed you a previous listing, which I think is the module that you're on right now. If you go to your email and click, I just sent it to you. I think it's week 3 link. Open up that, and I think you're going to be looking for.
Sean, if you save the day, man, I'm going to be really pumped.
Lunch for Sean.
Lunch for Sean. Okay, week 3. Oh man, look at Sean Fuentes pulling through, gang.
Sean
Okay.
for the win.
Oh, Sean Fuentes for the win, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so we recapped. We talked about the listing conversation. Gang, this is what can you guys all see this now?
Yes, it's beautiful.
Oh man, am I back on track now or what? I was doing decent, I thought, but anyway, I'll do better now. So this, Jeff and everybody on this in the group, this is exactly what our pre-listing looks like. And that lands, that's an actual one. That lands on their doorstep. And we give them the opportunity to run through that prior to us showing up. Let's see. There we go. Okay, like I said, dress for success. I think that this is an appropriate look for us here in Austin, Texas. Ladies, I'm not going to talk about your dress because I don't know much about women's fashion. We talked about the power of the pad and walking through the house. So this is a great recap, Sean. So here's the crux, the 3 questions, and now I can send this back to you guys. Okay, so here's the focus first. So this is exactly what I was talking to Angie about. Angie, this graph is best read from the bottom up. You can see the activity, and this is a little dated, gang, but you can use the 2023 to 2024 stuff. As you can see in the bottom, there's 2.4 months of inventory, Angie. And according to the National Association of Realtors, 6% or 6 months of inventory is a split market, meaning anything above that is a buyer's market. Anything below that is a seller's market. So you can see in 2021, we're firmly in a seller's market. Then in 2022, we creep up a little bit, not too much, to 2.9 months of inventory. And then we jump into 7 months of inventory. So there's a dramatic change in our market that we need to be aware of. We are firmly standing in a buyer's market. And I'm going to go look at this one too. See this, gang, right here? This is the one that I was using. And this is, I'm going to use this one actually, because this one's more accurate. I did this one last week. So Angie, let's talk about how long it's going to take to sell your house.
Okay.
This is 2022. As you can see, houses were selling in 53 days. And the average sales price in your area was $1.7 million. Then in 2023, the days on market goes to 80. Now, the good news in your zip code, we still saw little appreciation. We went from this number here, 1.7, almost 1.8 right here, to just a little bit over 1.8. So prices are pretty steady in your area, but as you can see, the average days on market increased almost 30 days. So we need to be aware of that. And we also want to score on this side of the line. As you can tell, some of these outliers out here, these are the people that took forever, right? You have 90 days to sell your home, and we just want to be sure that we're aware of that and that we're getting your house sold in time for you to get to Denver or Colorado, wherever you're going. And then, gang, this next graph is one of my favorites. This is your buying pattern in 2022 and your buying pattern in 2023. Almost every one of these, and I don't know why I have this little bit of yellow down here, but almost every single one of these, we're going to see a run up from January to June. And then we see a dip in August. I don't know what market everybody's in, but generally in Austin, August is not a good month to sell a house, which means July is not a good month because these go under contract 30 days prior. So if you look at this one here, you see August, then you've got a great steady run up in 2023, but then it kind of just drops off. You've got a little steady pickup in the fall, but most of the sales are in the spring. So why this is a good graph. If you got a client that wants to put their house on the market in July, and you can show them that, hey, look, historically, it's been quiet in August and September in Austin, right? It's okay here, but we need to be aware of that. I know you need to sell your home, But right now, let me ask you this question, Angie. What's your plan B if we don't get your house sold?
Well, I guess I could, I don't know, turn it into a rental. I'm not sure what that market looks like right now, but that would not be something I would want to do. I'd probably rather go down on price to get it sold quickly than to turn it into a rental.
So gang, I would write that question down. If you guys don't leave with anything else here, that's a great question. What's your plan B? Nobody generally has a plan B.
Right.
Right now, people are talking about renting. But then you can have the conversation about like, okay, will it cover the mortgage? If you decide to sell it in 36 months, you're going to need to, it's going to need to be a rental for at least 36 months, you know, to see if this market actually does come back and where it actually goes. And after that 36-month period, we're going to have to recondition your house, paint, carpet, flooring, anything else that, you know, potential tenants kind of bang up. So you need to have some capital expenditure to use on that house. Does that make sense?
Yeah, total.
Okay. Okay. So we've seen now, we've walked her through the odds of selling. How many months of inventory are on the market? Is it a buyer or seller market in that area? And gang, sometimes right now, this is 14 months of inventory. In that zip code right over there, over my left shoulder, 78704, there's 14 months of inventory in that, in South Austin. It is a buyer's market, 100%. Six is pretty decent, honestly. So I'm going to show her that. I'm going to show her average days on market, average sales price, the buying pattern. So she knows, hey, summer's not the best time to sell a house here in Austin. We need to be aggressive with our pricing. And then I'm going to talk to her about pricing. Okay, Angie, these are the houses that have sold in your area. You know, kind of where the rubber meets the road. This is the graph. Your house, and gang, this is an actual listing that I currently have right now. Your house was here. Your 5,838 square feet. Your house was withdrawn at essentially 3.9 million. All things being equal, and I know your house has some amenities and some features that other houses in the area don't have, but if all things were equal, this is where the trend line crosses the square foot line, is where your house would sell.
Okay.
Now, we're currently listed at 3.5. I think that's where we were. Yeah, 3.495. So you're a little bit above the trend line, and these are the houses that have sold in your area. You can tell down here we've got several houses that are pending. These yellow ones are pending. So this trend line may actually move down. So we need to be aware of that.
Yeah.
So, gang, if you show them where they stand, nobody else is going to show them where they stand, right? So if you guys can show them where they stand and use this software, I'm not selling this software, by the way. They're going to be much more receptive to what you have to say, because if they're up here, their previous agent did not show them this graph. Because the minute my clients saw this graph, they're like, okay, let's reduce the price. And I got a $300,000 price reduction for my clients last week. So Angie, does this all make sense?
Yeah, it does. And I like having the tools that you're showing me to, you know, help me understand why my pricing needs to be where you're going to suggest it be.
Yeah. So this is where, and so now there's a few things that happened. So now that we've talked through this, we've talked about all of these graphs. This is a different one. This is actually my personal house back in 2002. or 2023 a year ago, so obviously very overpriced. So now to conclude, Angie, now that we've gone through this, it seems to make sense to you. I know you're planning to interview other agents, but would you like to proceed with me?
Absolutely.
Okay. That's what I wanted to hear. Okay, so there's generally a couple of other questions that pop up, like commission questions or objections. Do you guys want to run through that? Does that make sense? Okay, another nugget that I want to leave you guys with today. So the one of three things can happen is a great one. What's your plan B? And, you know, Todd, what's your commission? So here's the answer. Your commission rate. And shut up. I charge 6% every time. That's my rate. And 90% of the time, they just want to know. I know we're all kind of caught up in these lawsuits, right? The NAR settlement, this, that, and the other thing. But the reality is, gang, people don't know. They don't understand. So if you want to charge 6% or 6.5% or even 7%, or if you want to charge 5.5 or 5, I don't, you know, it's not up to me. But I charge 6%. And if you're just quiet, they're not going to object. I think we're really bad about saying, oh, it's 6%. And then then we have to try to rationalize it to them. But, I know you're thinking about interviewing other agents, Angie, but if you sign with me today, I'll do it for 5% or whatever people do. You don't need to do that. They just want to know. So I'd really just make strong eye contact with them. Angie, it's 5% or it's 6%. Sorry, I almost gave a discount there. Angie, it's 5%. God, I keep doing that. 6%. And be quiet. And then if they've got some objections, then you need to know 2 or 3 objection handlers. And if you guys want to run through those, we can. Or if there's other questions, we can. Let's open it up. I've been talking a long time without my presentation. Sean, thanks again for saving the day.
That was pretty good, Todd, that you were able to wing it.
Oh, man, I'm seriously, my heart has been pounding for the last hour.
Well, we wouldn't have known it. You did
Well,
great.
thank you. But I mean, not to toot my own horn, I am good at this, but I've practiced a lot too. So.
Okay, Todd, please run through some of the objections. What would you say are some of your most common objections? Let's just say it's a commission objection. They are interviewing other people and they say, I've already talked to a couple of other agents that'll do it for X. What do you do differently that would make you worth a whole half point more or point more or whatever?
Well, let me ask you this question, Stacy. When those people, did you ask those other agents for a discount or do they just volunteer it?
They actually volunteered.
Yeah. So my question to you is that the person you want negotiating on your behalf? If they're willing to just volunteer their money, do you think they're going to fight really hard for you when they're negotiating with your money?
Something to think about, Todd Bailey.
That's all you got to go.
And then do the pregnant pause, right? Like just be quiet and see what they do with it.
I mean, when you start to use the pause, all your ums and uhs and all of that nervousness goes away. Just being comfortable in that silence, even if it's going to be awkward, right? Listing presentations are generally a little bit awkward because you're meeting with a stranger or you're walking through somebody's house. They're giving you details, and just being comfortable in that. So that's one objection. The other objection would be, can you do it for, well, what are the other objections? Let's see how I do.
Todd, I have a cousin that has her real estate license. She's willing to list it for 1%, Todd. I'm really, really close to a family member of mine.
Okay. And do they have a lot of experience, Brian?
They have their license, you know, she says she can do it. She's had her license for, 2 years and she sold some.
Yeah. Well, Brian, she said that she'll do it for 1%.
Yes.
Okay. So my question for you, Brian, we've talked about your house. It's worth about, $1 million. We're suggesting $1 million price point. So the commission for my team, right? We're going to offer 3% to a buyer's agent. So that's $30,000 to the buyer's agent. You're asking me for a 2% discount, which is $20,000. Is that correct?
Yes.
So Brian, if I can net you $1 million and she can net you $950,000, which is better?
$1 million, son.
$1 million, right? I've negotiated over 1,000 contracts over the years. I know your neighborhood extremely well. I can help you price your house and sell it very quickly versus an inexperienced agent that's gonna reduce their commission immediately. Would it be better if you and I worked together, had your house sold for $1 million and sold it quickly?
Yes. Yes. I'll throw another nugget out for everybody.
Yeah.
What happens if your home doesn't sell and you have to fire your cousin?
Yeah.
How are those future holidays going to go? Are you going to be able to do that? Right. Sometimes that small amount of money is not worth ruining a lifetime of a relationship.
Yeah. That's a great one, Brian.
That's a great one.
I would also, I might even go a little bit more in depth. Like, hey, do you spend Christmas or Thanksgiving with your cousin? How's it gonna feel to sit down at the kitchen table, if they can, or the dining room table if they can't get your house sold?
Yeah, knowing things didn't go well.
Yeah.
Cool. Great job, Todd.
Hey, thank you. What else? What other questions, team?
Hey, Todd.
Todd, I got one for you. What about when they say, okay, you seem really confident in this, but what if we don't get our price in the first 3 weeks?
Michelle, that's a great question. And so one of the things that I don't want to do is list your house and leave. A lot of agents list and leave, right? I want to talk to you. Well, let's talk about that. If we're gonna start at $1 million, right? You're feeling like $1 million is where you want to start. I think that in 3 weeks, we've looked at the numbers. On average, houses are selling 50 days in your neighborhood, or whatever the number is, right? 50 days in your neighborhood. If we don't have a contract or people coming through, if we don't have a contract, people coming through the door or people asking us specific questions like, can I get the seller's disclosure or the deed restrictions? We need to make an adjustment at that time. We need to be very specific about making a time frame of when we're going to make price adjustments. Does that make sense?
It does.
So here's what I'm going to recommend. Let's list your house on June 15th. If we don't have something in our hand or several people moving through your house by after July 4th weekend, let's revisit these numbers and make a price adjustment then. My recommendation is always in $25,000 increments. That's the way the search engines are set up. So we want to be sure we're pricing right on what I call the bridge. That way, if anyone has their listing criteria set up to $975,000, they're going to see your house. If we list at $976,000, they might not see your home. So let's just start thinking about that and having those numbers in our mind for July.
Sounds good.
I would also, gang, that's a great question, Michelle, because you need to be planning the adjustment seed with your clients on your first presentation. Every single listing I have right now, I have nine. We're having the price adjustment conversation at the get-go with everybody, and we're having them again right now.
I think, Todd, that's a super important thing. for everybody because we haven't had to be doing that so much over the prior to last year, let's just say. A couple of things related to that. I love the way that you couch this whole conversation as it's a partnership and you're making them part of the decision making process. And to your point just now, just planting the seeds up front so that when that conversation comes up, like they're anticipating that. This is not like any kind of surprise.
Yeah, I think one of the other things that we always say is, or that I say at different varying stages, like, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, I'm going to give you all the data and give you all the information that we get, showings, pricing, you know, if the neighbor's house up the street goes under contract. You guys get to make the decisions. You guys are in control. I can bring the data and I have a great process of selling homes, but you guys get to make the decisions. That really helps them feel like they're the ones in control. Even though, honestly, you are the one in control.
But helping them feel in control, it's a smart move.
Yeah. And really, yeah, I mean, you've got to help these people. So one of the other things I wanted to hit on today that's in my other presentation is people might get really, really mad at you while you're standing there in their living room. And that's okay. It's a wonderful thing because right now in our market, and this is no lie, people are going through the stages of grieving, right? Denial, anger, sadness, and finally acceptance. I think I missed one in there, but I'm not a psychotherapist, so forgive me. But when they get mad, they're getting closer. So just be with them, right? I know it's sad. I personally have a house that I have on the market right now, so I can sympathize. But the reality too is I wasn't going to talk about this, but I will. The reality is it's fictional money, right? If somebody's house was worth $2 million and it's now worth 1.3, that's $700,000 delta. That was fictional money. They didn't sell their house at the time when at the top of the market. So today's reality is 1.3. And then just be quiet.
Let them find their way to the truth sometimes, right?
Yeah.
So Todd, Cassandra asked, what do you do if you can, well, her question was, we often go into a listing appointment where the sellers don't have to sell. If you can tell that they're just not that motivated, they kind of want to try the market, try the price. How do you handle that?
Yeah, I mean, 24 months ago, and it feels like yesterday, right? You take that listing. You just take it because you can put a sign in the yard and the market's going to catch it in a couple months, right? But now's not a time for aspirational pricing. Now's the time. I don't want to work with triers. I want to work with sellers. So people that want to try in today's market, like, hey, you know, I'm not taking that listing because you're going to put time and energy and money. And really, it's not even the money, it's the energy, right? That I've got a guy right now who's trying. I have all my listings are sellers, people that really want to sell, but I have one trier and he's the one sucking the life out of me.
Yeah. And probably I would think you're catching that level of motivation in your first consultation with them, your pre-listing consultation that you're doing over a Zoom call before you ever show up at that house.
Yeah. And that can just be a phone call too. It doesn't even need to be a Zoom presentation. The very first consultation is you're hitting the nail on the head. You're figuring out who they are, what they want, what their motivation levels are. And if they're like, hey, if we can sell it for 2 million and it's worth 1.5, I wouldn't take it. I just wouldn't take it. And that's really hard to say.
Yeah. I think that's a shift that so many of us are feeling is sitting on listings that aren't moving and it's sucking us dry marketing wise. But having those difficult, now we have that knowledge as professionals that this is the market that we're in. And we're like cutting our losses early versus dragging this out for 9 months and it's sucking the life out of us.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, those are the people that call and complain, you know, they're calling you on Sunday afternoon when you're hanging out with your kids or your friends. Yeah, those are the worst.
It's that not all business is good business, right? And we got to detect it early on.
100%. Well, gang, I pulled off a 1-hour thing without my presentation. I wish, I do apologize. I think I could have had a little more power with it all, but what other questions? I'm actually open right now.
It's 10:01, but anybody else got questions? Jill Powell, what did Jill say? I have clients that want to sell but can't buy what they want. I think we have a lot of that, right? That's
Yeah.
just the reality, and that's a reality they've just got to come to. Say that again, Jill.
Yeah, it's just like when you do give them the reality of what they can sell for, then they realize that they can't really buy what they need or want to buy in the next step. And so I don't really have much for that other than trying to come up with finding them the very best deals that I can find in the market, and then any kind of special financing deals that you can find here and there.
I'd like to say something there. You know, Todd has been saying multiple times, what I tell my buyers is don't equate list price to sale price. There's, like Todd said, there's a lot of triers out there, and that's why inventory in 78702 is at 10 months and 13.2 and 04. So, you know, what I always say is, hey, let's find what you like and lowball. And what buyer doesn't want to lowball, right? And there's going to be so much inventory that it's not like 2020 where, you know, they're scraping. It's okay, they don't get that offer, let's move to the next one. And I guarantee, I mean, how many list agents they get an offer right now are going to be like, oh, that's no, we wouldn't do that. I mean, if it's for $1 million and you're offering 400,000, okay, that's not going to get a look, right? But if they're at 400 and you're offering 325, that's 75. I mean, there's negotiating room there, right?
Well, and
you don't even.
So that
also a cost of waiting, and you have to talk about that to them, right? What happens a year from now or 2 years from now if we pull your home off the market and it's worth less?
Yeah, and I also think, you know, talking about carrying costs, Jill, one of the other things that you can say, Jill, and it sounds like your people are in the same market, but like using Angie back as our example, right? Like, hey, I know you want to sell your house for this. What's happening in the Austin market doesn't equate to what's happening in the Denver market. So, you know, I realize that this may be disappointing, but these are actually the numbers.
Yeah, and I don't even see it as necessarily lowballing to offer under list price. Like you said, there's a lot of listings out there that are just, they're priced outside of what the sales are. So I talk about it from an appraisal standpoint. Like we have to offer a price that's going to be able to appraise to even get the deal done.
Yeah, I agree.
From a buyer's agent perspective, it's a way to strengthen your communication to your client that you can negotiate a lowball offer, which is a skill, right? Since 2020, it's been like submit an offer and get on your hands and knees and pray. But now it's like, you know what I mean? And so now it's like, now let's come in low and see how far we can get them down. You know, that's an actual conversation you can have with your buyers now. And that's it. And so you can say, hey, look, I'll get you a lower price. I'll get you lower than list. How lower? Let's find the property.
Hey, Todd, I have a question if you don't mind.
Yeah, go for it, brother.
Yeah, so all this is awesome. Thank you so much. So I guess a very basic back to the beginning question would be, how do you get all these listing appointments and how do you get in front of all these people? Just if you could kind of cliff note version that for everybody.
I mean, 23 years in the business helps. Consistent marketing, Brian hit it at the nail on the head at the beginning, sending out a newsletter every month. You know, most of the people that I'm calling my sphere a lot. I'm in flow with my sphere a lot. And just you know, we take, this is going to sound silly, gang, and this may be a little different. So two things, I'm going to hit you with two things here. We do an annual bunt cake for all our clients on Thanksgiving. So we spend $3,000 or $4,000 on bunt cakes. We, you know, package them up and we put our little, you know, our logo on and our sticker on it, and we deliver it to them, and we have consistently for years and years and years. And that $3,000 that we spend is worth, I mean, I probably make $200,000 every year just from that just doing that. That is worth its weight in gold. If you guys want to talk to me about that, reach out to me separately. If you're looking for, and I put this in one of my slides, if you're looking for more listings, and I'm using that silence thing that I was talking about, oh, I thought I could put my fingers right on it. Do annual reviews. If you did 200 annual reviews or even 30 annual reviews, and you guys know what annual reviews are?
Probably need to tell them, Todd.
Yeah, okay. You could do, let's call them equity updates or whatever they are. Do a CMA for your clients, put it in a nice package and take it to them. Go have coffee with them and just, hey, here's your annual review. And if you do that consistently, I can promise you your clients, somebody's going to sell their house. If you have a database of 100 people, 100 homeowners, and you did that for all 100 of them, I can tell you 5 of them are going to sell their house in the next year. Probably, I think the average is 7%. So 7 of those people are going to sell their houses. So annual reviews, and the annual reviews can look very different. You know, you could say, hey, I'm going to look at everything that's happened in a year. Or, you know, I personally like the last 9 months because last 90 days, because that's actually what's happening in the market, right? I don't want to set up some sort of like, hey, my house was worth $1 million, you know, a year ago. Why is it 950 today? So does that answer your question, Jeff? I'm going to assume it
Yes.
does.
Yes. Thank you.
Of course.
I know what Todd is really good at, is if you caught what he said, staying in the flow with his people. And that can be, you know, via social media, literally just reaching out and checking on people, you know, your sphere here and there. It's just kind of getting in the flow and loving on your people. And I think that's a lot of what's driven your business. And we all do that in different ways, but I think that's a big part of how you've procured the business that you've come up with. I love it that you do the bundt cakes at Thanksgiving. I love it because so many people do pies. I like it that you did your own spin on it. That's awesome. And I also put the link to Focus First. Todd did a presentation a while back on Focus First. So one of the main tools he uses for pricing is Focus First. Todd, would you say that the presentation you did on Focus First a while back, I know we can get the link to that. Is that the best one for them to see you do your jam on Focus First? Or should we have another one? Do we need
I should probably do it again.
Okay. Would you be willing to do that for us?
I would.
So y'all, Focus First is a really great tool. It's a little clunky, but even Todd Bailey has figured out how to make it not quite so clunky. Anyway, but that is the tool that he uses for his pricing and showing the client. So a lot of what you guys saw were the results of what Focus First produces. So Todd, will you come back and teach us Focus First?
I will, for sure.
Awesome.
And I got to be honest, Focus First is the least expensive software that I have. And it's the one I use all the time.
Yeah. Well, you've really mastered it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Just practice, gang. It's just practice. I'm no different than anyone on this call.
I love it. Anybody else? We're 10 minutes after, but we still got Todd Bailey. So anybody else got more questions? You can throw at him.
Yeah, I've got a question, Todd. Where are we going to lunch?
Oh, I do. I owe you, Sean, big time, man. You saved the day there.
All right, you guys have a great day.
we'll get to a yoga class and then we'll go.
Todd, a million thanks. You're the best, brother.
Thanks, gang.
Appreciate you. Hey, everyone, have a great weekend.
Yeah. Happy Friday.
Go sell some houses, get some things under contract. We'll talk about it in a week. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks, Todd.